guys, it's Let Your Light Shine. I'm here at the Yorba Linda Library and I found this book, and so I'm going to take you around and do some historical sites. Alright, so right in front of me we're at 4866 Olinda Street. And this is the Yorba Linda Schoolhouse, built in 1911. The simple rectangular craftsman building was constructed as the community's first schoolhouse. It later served numerous functions as a meeting room for civic groups, the Yorba Linda County Water Company, and as a Sunday school. And as you see right here, it has a plaque right here. Very nice. Very cool. At 4802 Olinda Street, in the year of 1926, Dr. Cochran's residence and office. Local contractor E.J. Herbert constructed this Mediterranean revival house for Dr. Richard Cochran and his wife Ellen. Dr. Cochran was one of Yorba Linda's community physicians and was known throughout Orange County during the 20s and 30s. Apparently there's a tour inside at times. I don't know if they still have it or not, but that's what it says in this book, so that'd be kind of cool. 4862 Olinda Street, years of 1914-1918, Holloway Apartments. The Holloway Apartments, a two-story Mission Mediterranean Revival building, was one of the few places in Yorba Linda where guests could stay. It was also a location for newly arriving members of the community. The Yorba Linda Star was once located on the ground floor, as was Janeway's Grocery. So this probably was Janeway's Grocery and Yorba Linda Star at one time. And across the way is the Janeway house. I did a quick little vlog of that before. I believe it could be the oldest house in Yorba Linda. They were going to tear it down. And the community fought to keep it up, but they couldn't revive it, so it's still abandoned looking. Here's a nice little sign to represent the Old Town Main Street of Yorba Linda, as well as this parking lot sign. They do farmers markets here every weekend, right in this parking lot. These buildings just as well, the 4892 through 4894. So here's 4894, 4892. So 1936, building was constructed in 1936. Again, early shops are unknown. Okay, I'm not finding the actual addresses of 4860 through 4910 offhand, but it's in this area. It just says recreation area, mainly horseshoe pits. So maybe now it's a parking lot. We're at 4891 and 4893 Main Street, dated 1923. This small one-story brick building is designed in the Mediterranean style. According to early residents, Herbert Slim Worsham had a barbershop here. It has been said if someone needed a haircut, all you had to do was raise the flag in front of the building and Slim would leave his house and return to the barbershop. The building also served as a real estate business and an insurance office. Vacant until 1944, the 4893 address was a grocery store and Rexall drugstore. 4901 Main Street, the year of 1927, the Yorba Linda Hardware. This one-story brick Mediterranean revival building was constructed by Edward Cobb. Hardware store was operated in the building since its completion in 1927 and is one of the oldest operating stores in Yorba Linda. Now, this book, I don't know how old it is, but it's dated because it used to be open, and it was open not too long ago, and it's now a different store because the hardware store moved down the street. 4854 Main Street, dated 1916, the Buckmaster Building. The Buckmaster Building was built in 1916. Businesses were farm equipment, auto repair, blacksmith shop, which later became a towing service, and a Ford dealership in 1930. 4861 Main Street, 1925. The Janeway's Grocery was located in this building after moving from Olinda. In the 1940s, Jim Smalley turned it into a tennis racket factory. The building was also Dr. Cochran's office, the post office, and home to the Yorba Linda Star. So it looks like the Yorba Linda Star also moved as well, just like the Janeway Grocery. .4845, 4847 Main Street, 1914. The Lay Building. This two-story Craftsman commercial-style building was constructed for Philip Lay. Originally clad in wood clapboard, it is now covered in stucco. Mr. Lay rented the bottom floor to commercial businesses and the upstairs to numerous local organizations. The Lay Building housed Cannon's Drugstore, and from 1967 to 1984 it was the Yorba Linda City Hall. Eventually, the building was purchased by the local Masonic Lodge. Alright, now we're at 4802 Main Street, 1915. Apparently this is not the actual building, it was in the same area though. It was the Bank of Italy, First National Bank, now Bank of America. Perlis Barton's father, John Barton, built the first bank here in 1915. Originally it was the Bank of Italy and then the First National Bank. After the stock market crashed in 1929, the bank did not reopen. In 1945, Bank of America agreed to open a branch. In 1961, the building was raised to make way for the parking lot next to the bank building, which stands today. So now this parking lot is also address of 4804 Main Street, 1910, Williams Building. The Williams Building was a local blacksmith and a barber shop, which was then vacant in 1916. It was also residence, a service station, and a real estate office, but now it's a parking lot. 4815 Main Street, 1920, the Epperly Building. This simple one-story structure, clad in wood clapboard, was served as a leather shop, private residence, and a plumbing store. Now we're at the 18372 Lemon Drive. 1917-1918 was a Presbyterian Methodist church. You see its plaque right here, 1917. Try to get a little further away so you can actually see the whole building. I'm too close. Contractor Edward Cobb built this craftsman-style church as a United Presbyterian Church. And Dr. English, president of the Church Extension Board, drew up the plans. After 4 years, it was sold to the Methodist Church, who in 1963 sold the property to the Baptists. Okay, we're at 18402 Lemon Drive. Oddly, it says Yorba Linda Elementary School, 1913. Orange County Fire Authority, Civilian Conservation Corp, 1938. Okay, let's keep reading here. Originally, this was the site of Yorba Linda's second school, which faced School Street. When enrollment exceeded its capacity, 3 houses were moved in next to the building. 1925, the school district purchased part of Frank Nixon's property on Yorba Linda Boulevard and built a larger school. The school on School Street was eventually razed. In 1938, these 4 buildings were constructed as part of the Civilian Conservation Corps under the Roosevelt administration. Okay, so I'm on School Street, and there's a lot on this book about it, but I don't see much. And I know they are, as you see all this construction, I think they're building, I forgot what they're building, but they're doing something over here. I hope they didn't tear down old buildings. But I do notice these on School Street. It's right by the fire station. I believe this is still part of that school and the houses. And Craftsman Bungalows. I think this is what these are. It says in the years of like varying 1912, 1915, it says rectangular Craftsman house with double front facing gables was also relocated to the site and utilized as a schoolroom. So, I don't know, it's, this is all I'm seeing though, and it's definitely abandoned. Although there is a fire truck back there. but I know this house up here is kind of boarded up. Okay, so here's a closer shot of this house. Now, I don't know the address of this, but it does seem to make sense on what I'm reading here about the 4 square wood posts that support the porch gable. So, the earliest known residents of this house were William and Carrie Smith in 1922. William worked in the oil fields. At 4835 School Street, dated 1914, Friends Church Parsonage. Constructed by the community as part of the Friends Church, this was the church parsonage. Oh, okay. Thanks. It's a pretty good sized church. I'm not sure if I'm correct on this, but I thought I read a while back, because I liked the paranormal, I thought I read that this church was haunted. So, wouldn't that be cool to see that, capture that in my footage? It's intermission time. Hope you guys are enjoying my little history walk. That's all I got. So, go grab yourself something to drink, and we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is now intermission. We will be right back, so just sit tight. Thank you. Welcome back from intermission, and enjoy the rest of this awesome video. Thank you. All right, we are now at 18132 Imperial Highway, the Pacific Electric Depot, 1911. Now you see it is now a Polly's Pies. The Pacific Electric Railway brought many early settlers to Yorba Linda and strengthened the economic vitality of the community by providing an inexpensive and direct route to markets in Los Angeles. This red car depot, constructed between 1910 and 1911, is a combination of craftsman and colonial revival. Yorba Linda Ben Foss was the conductor on the red car line to Yorba Linda. And as the car would approach the station, Ben would call out, "Yorba Linda, capital of the world." This site was plaqued in 1983. The Foothill Groves packing house stood about where the Bank of Yorba Linda is now. The interior design of the bank and the exterior design of the Yorba Linda Station Shopping Center reflect the land's earlier use. Originally, that strip of land contained the Red Car Depot, the Foothill Growers Packing House, and the San Pedro Lumber Yard, where Nixon Park is now. I believe, if I look at old pictures, that this is the front of the depot, because over here is the train, and it's on one piece of track, and I want to say that track, and I'm not sure, went down this way. So the mail cars and caboose, as you see. The electric car is known as the red car, pulled some of these mail cars to Yorba Linda every day. Just seems kind of odd, because it's not even like, doesn't look very protected. You just throw your stuff in this big old looking wagon and off it went on the old train. Very interesting. Each car had a name with a different city on it. The MJB Realty Company purchased 2 rail cars in 1952, simply for posterity. As Imperial Highway widening began, 1 car was moved to Brea and the caboose was relocated to this site in Yorba Linda. We're at 4801 Park Avenue, dated 1918. One of the unique features of this 2-story Craftsman are the 2-story gables at 45 and 90 degrees to the 2nd story gable. It is kind of different. I think it looks pretty cool. This house was most definitely designed to conform to the odd-shaped lot and is a true example of the compatibility of Craftsman structures to their environment. Nathan and Ada Trueblood were the first owners of this bungalow. Nathan was a local carpenter. During the 20s, the Janeway family lived here. The Janeways owned a grocery store on Olinda Street. And they were on a corner lot, so here you go. It's abandoned now. I know they were going to tear it down, but they fought that. But they didn't restore it, so I don't know what their plans are. But it looks like they did put some roofing on there to protect it from the rain. So all these houses on Park Avenue all have a history. I didn't want to read every single one or bother people that are living here currently. But the dates on these houses vary, but they're running in the 1918 era, so very interesting. 4912 Shaw Lane, dated 1914. It's believed that this house was built by Frank Nixon because Hannah Nixon held title to the property in 1914. The initial residents were George and Charlotte Shaw. George was employed as a foreman for the Foothill Growers Packing House located where the Bank of Yorba Linda is now. The street was named for him. Very interesting. We are at the Yorba Linda Citrus Association, 1922, 1929, the Lemon Packing House. The original co-op packing house was built in 1922. In 1926, an imbalance of fruit caused the city to topple, and in 1929, the building burned down. The original wood structure was replaced by a concrete building in 1929-1930. It was designed by Los Angeles architect M. Norenberg and built by local contractor E.J. Herbert. As houses began to replace the citrus groves in the late 50s and 60s, the packing house closed. So now it's, well, a 24-hour fitness, I believe. It could be something else, because I don't see the sign anymore, but it was something. They're using it for all sorts of things now, but it used to be a packing house. Last but certainly not least, the Richard Nixon Library and birthplace. I'm going to take this back trail so we can get a shot of this helicopter. Unfortunately, there's a lot of shrubbery. I've been here a few times. The Girl Scouts do in March. They do a free event here. It's crazy crowded though on that day. It's not as fun when it's that crowded. But behind these shrubs stands his house that he was born in. He's also buried here as well. Frank and Hannah Nixon built this California bungalow kit house on an 8-acre lot purchased from the Jantz Investment Company. They planted their 8 acres in oranges and lemons. In 1913, their second son Richard was born in the parents' bedroom. Richard Nixon became the 37th President of the United States and Yorba Linda's most famous citizen. Little trivia is my husband's former boss is, I believe, second cousin to Richard Nixon. In 1922, the family moved to Whittier when the lemon grove failed to produce. In 1925, the school district purchased 5.5 acres and built a school. In the late 1940s, the school district purchased the rest of the property. The house was rented to their school bus drivers and maintenance men and their families for $50 a month. In 1978, the Birthplace Foundation purchased the house and 1 acre to preserve it from development. 1988, the city purchased the property from the school district and gave it to Nixon Foundation. The library opened July 1990. course, I'd like to end my Yorba Linda history walk at the Nixon Museum. We're located off Yorba Linda Boulevard and Eureka Avenue. At the very end of the structure is a ballroom. The next time I go in, I'll do a vlog of the inside of the Nixon Museum. And back to where I was in the beginning, where the choppa is. So I'll take a quick peek from the front because the shrubbery isn't covering it up here. I'm kind of curious why Fox News is here. Guess I'll find out. Okay, getting close to this helicopter. You can walk inside as well, it's pretty cool. Also on the front side, you can get a better view of the birth home. What's cool also, when you actually go inside here, they allow you to walk inside this home as well. It's very small. I mean, the upstairs is like one room. Well, thanks for watching my Yorba Linda history vlog. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I just never have a day off to do it. So I had an opportunity and I took it. Thank you to the Yorba Linda Library once again for this book, because I wouldn't know much of anything if it weren't for this book. So thank you. You kind of like look through these doors. It's a cool picture of Nixon. Hey everybody, real quick before I forget, because I was mentioning the date of this book and I didn't see it when I was walking around and wondering why some of the stuff in this book was a little old or dated. Well, look at the date. September 29th, 2001. And I'm filming this on February 15th, 2017. So that would explain that. And then also it mentions the Bank of Yorba Linda. And I don't see a Bank of Yorba Linda. So I'm going to show a quick clip of me driving past the parking lot where the Polly's Pies is. And there is a bank there. And it kind of looks like an old building. So I'm thinking that's the bank. So there you go. A red light right now. So this building right here is the bank building. So that probably was that Yorba Linda bank that they mentioned in this book a few times, because there's the Polly's Pies. So hope that helps.